You speak in several places and you connect a lot with, with different people. What do you think is missing with our young society now, with our young generation? Um, I come across them very often, and sometimes it's a very uh, confusing conversation when you say, I come from a family of service. We serve. And I believe that's in every man's DNA, right? Serving. I
I
think that
agree.
when a man does not serve, he doesn't really he lives a purpose for really when you serve, you have a purpose, right? So you start living a purposeful life. But when you don't have that and you go through your whole life without serving, I don't know, there's something missing. So this type of conversation, I've had it with several people, but young people don't really have they don't understand it. So what are your thoughts on the people that you've come across, especially those who maybe now are just getting around to saying, you know what, serving is so important, serving for our country.
Well, listen, that comment you said,
Mm.
it's in the man's DNA because in our DNA through generations was serving the community, protecting the community, dying
Yes.
if necessary to save the tribe, right? It's
Yes.
in our DNA. That commitment to service is in our DNA. Now, somehow, as we've gotten softer, you know, that analogy that tough men make good times make weak men make hard times. We are in a time of weak men, right? And look at it. For the last decade, there's been this chastising of young men, toxic male toxicity. That is utter bullshit, right? And we need to turn that. And the other number one thing in society that is causing these problems and these challenges, the lack of a positive male role model. You look at families that have a two-parent family structure with a father and mother compared to everything else. Now, not that those nuclear families don't produce people that end up in jail and end up doing bad things, but inherently the most important role in the life of a man is to be a mentor to your children, to a mentor to your sons. And that's the critical thing. And I would argue, and I try and do this because I don't have children. My marriage lasted 3 deployments, and I'm not, I'm not going to start a family now at 50, 58 and a half here. But I try and mentor. I try and mentor young men. Any kid that wants to go to Buds, I've helped so many young kids that end up wanting to go do the path that I followed. I've done everything I can to mentor them, and sometimes it's just being there when sometimes they just need someone to reach out to, and that's what I would put out to your audience. The men that are going to listen to your audience coming from a law enforcement military background. I know probably most of you guys are already doing this, but go out and mentor because that next generation, they are dying for leadership. They're dying to see how we live. I mean, I'm blessed because so many of the guys I've served with, their young sons are now, out of college, getting into the
Hmm.
business sector. And a good friend, in fact, John Ferrucci, who you had on Giovanni here a month or two ago, his son lived in Tampa for a long time. Connor, phenomenal kid. He used to bring his leadership team over, and they're all in their late 20s, maybe one in their early 30s.
Hmm.
And they'd sit on my back porch with all my friends, including John Ferrosi, who we're all in our 50s. And they would listen to us as we're drinking bourbon, smoking cigars, cutting, making jokes about any topic. Everything's off limits. We don't give it, we don't play the, oh, I can't say that word crap in
Yeah,
our
of
brain,
course.
right? Because who cares? It's a damn joke. I laugh at the Irish jokes more than any other because I'm like, if they hit the funny bone, you nailed it. And I got a sense of humor. I have to. I'm a small
Yeah.
little Irish guy. I got to take every leprechaun joke in stride. But I just remember those guys listening to some of the words coming out of their mouth, and they were kind of shocked because we're dropping the F bombs and others that you're not supposed to say in polite company. But like our generation is like, toughen up, Buttercup type of thing. And listen, they want that mentorship, and that's the most important thing is that
Yeah, I love that.
that generation got their youth stolen from when COVID shut down. If they were in
Oh
high
yeah.
school, they
Oh
missed
yeah.
out on their proms, they missed out on their senior football
Yes.
season. They were in college, they missed out on frat life or just playing sports in college. I mean, they
Yes.
they they had their youth stolen from them, and
Yes.
now they're angry about it, rightfully so. And there's a turn to the right for the younger generation, which it's almost it's comforting because I watched this liberal woke virus infect the millennial generation to the point of like, what the hell? And and I'm a pretty blunt guy, and I swear like a sailor sometimes. But in my last company, I mentored everyone, and I didn't always pull any punches, and I would probably say some things that were definitely not popular because I'm the most unwoke person on the planet Earth. Um, but even my CEO at one point when we were still had a good working relationship, he commented to me, he goes, I have zero HR complaints about you. Zero. And you'd think I'd be the one who I'm the old gray guy in the office because I can have a sense of humor, but I know when there's certain jokes that are not appropriate in any environment. And I never cross those lines, but I also inspire, and I mentored literally every young man and woman in that company and had time for all of them. And that's what's missing. And we need to get back to that because that's what the youth needs more than anything else. Yeah, and especially young men, they need mentorship by real men, and to know that they can be a real man and should be able to express their opinions, and screw this going with everything that everyone else says, the group think, the mindset. Oh, if I say something, I'm not going to get painted as a red pillar or a Republican or whatever. And it's like this is America, man. We earn the right for you to speak your mind. I don't always have to agree with people, but even in my SEAL platoon, we always had one or two outliers that did not go along with groupthink. And as an officer, the last thing I want is to have 100% of guys that have groupthink. You got to have that
That's right.
outlier.
That's
Hey,
right.
sir, did you think about this? Hey,
Yeah.
what about that option? And I'm like, well, shit. All right, well, you're right. Now we need to adjust this. But thank God you have that mindset, and you have to encourage that. But we need, as I said, and I said this, in a toast just recently. You know, our national motto used to be "E pluribus unum," out of many one. And we need to get back to that. Like in every military unit I've ever been in, we never really we would talk politics, but when we're downrange, we're like focused on the mission in hand. That's what we're here to do. And yet now the division in this country, and again, it's all being driven by what's everyone's staring at their phone all day, but it's we need to get back to the old school values and what remind people what made this country great. And I always say as a veteran, 65, 70 odd countries around the world. And I said, you want to criticize America? Be my guest, but go travel. Get some stamps in your passport. And I don't mean going to like Canada. Well, hell now, I'd be scared to go to certain parts of Canada and certainly the UK and France. I mean, you know, it's a very different world and travel and life experience is the best educator out there. And that's what people need to do before they start picking up a banner and
Yeah, I
waving
love
that
that.
flag,
Yeah.
you know.
That's great. Hey guys, do me a favor, smash that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell. Of course, share and like the content. So important. We want to make sure that this goes out to other men who really need to know more about walking the warrior's path and, of course, how to be a purpose driven man in our day and age. May God bless you.